Caitlin Clark's season didn't just end with a medical report. It ended with a seismic shift that ripped the foundation right out from under the WNBA. This wasn't a pulled muscle on an ordinary rookie. This was the league's brightest star, the face of record-breaking ticket sales, broadcast deals, and national headlines, being stripped from the stage in her sophomore year. And when you peel back the layers, it wasn't simply about her body giving out. It was about jealousy, targeting, and a league that allowed resentment to fester until it became destructive. At the center of that storm was Angel Reese, whose obsession with being the headline eclipsed the responsibility of being a competitor. The writing was on the wall for months. From May onward, Clark's body was screaming for a pause. A quad strain here, groin problems there, eventually a bone bruise in August. These weren't random blows of bad luck. They were the accumulation of weeks of cheap shots, hard fouls, and relentless physicality disguised as tough defense. And who was almost always in the middle of the storm? Angel Reese, throwing her body into Clark, celebrating her knocks like they were victories, and fanning the flames of a rivalry that looked less like competition and more like obsession. Fans didn't just see it. They felt it. They saw Clark bodied off cuts, shoved before the ball even touched her hands, knocked to the floor on plays that wouldn't fly in any other professional league. And while it was happening, Reese laughed. She thrived on it. She wanted the attention of being Clark's foil more than she wanted the respect of actually outplaying her. This is what infuriated so many. Instead of showcasing skill, Reese leaned into drama. Instead of elevating the game, she dragged it into a soap opera where the most marketable player in league history became the nightly punching bag. The hypocrisy cut even deeper. Clark was the reason networks paid millions for WNBA rights. The reason arenas from Dallas to New York were selling out for the first time. The reason little girls lined up with homemade signs and grown men wore fever jerseys. Yet when it came to protecting her, the league turned a blind eye. They celebrated record jersey sales and press releases while ignoring the bruises piling up on their superstar. They posted about attendance spikes while dismissing the dangerous physical play designed to wear her down. And when her body finally broke, the same voices who cashed in on her success shifted the spotlight to Angel Reese as if she could carry what Clark built. The truth is glaring. Reese has neither the skill nor the charisma to hold the WNBA on her shoulders. Her averages, her ticket draw, her television ratings, all of them pale compared to Clark's. Without Clark, the WNBA looks exposed. Ratings sink. Tickets plummet. Sponsors hedge their bets. The league's growth wasn't a collective effort. It was Caitlin Clark. Reese might enjoy pretending otherwise, but numbers don't lie. And her response when Clark was ruled out for the season? Not empathy. Not solidarity. Not even respect. Instead, she pivoted the conversation back to herself. She bragged about how in 20 years, she'd look back and tell people she was also the reason women's basketball was thriving. She couldn't even say Clark's name, like acknowledging her would somehow weaken her own relevance. To fans, it sounded bitter, jealous, and painfully tone-deaf. The star who should have used this moment to unify the league instead used it to inflate her ego. It backfired instantly. Fans revolted. Social media timelines filled with clips of Reese's most reckless fouls, replayed with captions about how her jealousy helped break Clark's body down. Longtime WNBA supporters shook their heads, saying this was exactly why casual fans refused to take the league seriously. Clark's absence wasn't just seen as bad luck, it was seen as the result of unchecked envy. And Reese was the poster child. The fallout has been catastrophic. Ticket prices for events that Clark was supposed to headline, including All-Star Weekend in Indiana, cratered overnight. Seats that had been going for $200 suddenly couldn't move for $60. Resale sites overflowed with desperate fans trying to unload tickets they no longer cared to use. Television networks that had gambled prime slots on Clark games scrambled to adjust schedules, knowing the ratings drop would be brutal. Sponsors who had plastered her face on ads now watched as their investments shriveled. The league went from boom to bust in a single announcement, and yet Reese and her defenders still try to spin it. They claim the league doesn't need one player, that this is about collective growth. But the evidence screams otherwise. When Clark plays, attendance surges. When she doesn't, arenas look like half-filled scrimmages. When Clark headlines broadcasts, millions tune in. When she's sidelined, national radio hosts openly admit they don't bother talking about the WNBA. Colin Cowherd himself confessed he led his show 6 times last year with Clark. But this year, Not once since her injury. That's how sharp the drop-off is. Meanwhile, the anger among fans has gone from frustration to outright rebellion. Organized boycotts are real. Fans are refusing to attend playoff games, deliberately leaving seats empty as a message to the league. Refund screenshots flood social media. Coordinated campaigns are targeting the postseason, designed to embarrass the WNBA for allowing this disaster to unfold. They're not just angry that Clark is gone. They're angry at the league's silence, at officials swallowing whistles, at the commissioner acting as if jealous rivalries are just part of the game. They're angry at Reese for mocking Clark while pretending she could replace her. And the cruelest irony? The Fever themselves are still fighting. Kelsey Mitchell is lighting up defenses, Aaliyah Boston is becoming a leader, Lexi Hull is grinding through heavy minutes. The team hasn't folded. They're pushing toward the playoffs with pride. But without Clark, everything feels muted. The energy she brought, the anticipation she created, it can't be replicated. The Fever may still compete, but the league around them looks exposed, hollow, and unstable. This wasn't just about one season. It was about the trajectory of the WNBA. Clark gave it momentum it had never seen before. That momentum has now crashed, not because she wasn't strong enough, but because the league wasn't wise enough to protect her. And the bitter taste left in fans' mouths is tied directly to Angel Reese, who embodied the envy, the targeting, and the arrogance that turned a promising year into a cautionary tale. Now the WNBA stares at its reality. Angel Reese is not the savior. She cannot draw like Clark. She cannot lead like Clark. And she cannot be the reason casual fans tune in. She can posture, she can brag, she can point to her own numbers, but none of it fills the seats Clark filled. None of it makes networks rewrite schedules. None of it convinces sponsors to double their investments. The league chose to tolerate jealousy over protecting its crown jewel, and now they're paying the price. Caitlin Clark's season ended on paper, but the damage will linger far beyond 2025. Fans won't forget the cheap shots, the silence, the smirks. They won't forget the day ticket prices collapsed, broadcasts dried up, and the dream of a breakout year died in a press release. They won't forget that Angel Reese, given the chance to show leadership, showed pettiness instead. And they won't forgive a league that treated its golden goose like cannon fodder. The question now isn't whether Clark will come back stronger. She will. The question is whether the WNBA will learn from this disaster, or whether jealousy will keep dictating who thrives and who suffers. Because if they don't change, fans have already shown they're willing to walk away. And without Clark, without the trust she built, the league has nothing left to lean on. So let's hear from you. Do you think Angel Reese's jealousy is the real reason Caitlin Clark's season ended early? Has the WNBA already lost the momentum Clark gave them, or can they recover in time? Drop your thoughts down in the comments.